Welcome to the IRONMAN Insider, presented by Maurten. I'm your host, Matt Lieto. We're here in the weeks between Oceanside and Texas, and there's one name that feels impossible to ignore right now, and it's Jonas Schomburg. What he did at IRONMAN 70.3 Oceanside wasn't just a podium, it was a statement. Front pack out of the water, drove the race on the bike, and for most of the day, it felt like he might actually hold off Christian Blumenfeld and the rest of the field. And here's the wild part. This is only his second season dedicated to long course racing. And he's not easing into it. He's dictating races, and in my opinion, he's changing the dynamics. Because now heading into IRONMAN Texas, the question isn't, can he hang? It's, are they going to let him go up the road? If Oceanside was a warning shot, Texas might be where he gets a direct hit. Jonas, welcome to the podcast.
Thanks for the introduction. I loved it. Yeah, it's been a busy weeks and I love it. And yeah, I can't wait for Texas. No, I've been good training the whole winter, good training block, and now coming to my second season, I'm still learning. I'm still young to the sport. I think it's my fourth Ironman now. So we're gonna
Yeah,
see how Texas turns out,
I
but
love it.
keen.
Yeah, that's awesome. You do seem keen. That's one word I've used to describe you before, which is awesome. I love it. And you're young, new to the sport, you say, because it is. Does it feel like a different sport? I know you've been doing triathlon since what? You're like 10 or something?
Yeah, probably this more than 20 years already, and I think 15
Crazy.
years professional already. So 15 or 14 years ITU short distance, two Olympics, and been there, has done all the races. So now coming to Ironman long distance, it's a completely new game, kind of. If new motivation, new people, new places, and I really enjoy it. And I think that's also one key was last year or with the racing I had. It's just enjoying it really.
Yeah, it seemed like it. You seem like you always have a good time. And I think we can't, if we're talking about the transition from your short course racing and Olympic distance racing to Ironman, I don't think we can ignore the fact, I commentated on your first race in South Africa. And was it hyped up, or did you actually just like do it for fun because you're like, oh, whatever, I'm here, let's give it a shot?
It was actually, like I said, it was a training day for me, kind of. I haven't planned anything to do my racing, the race calendar. I hadn't planned anything. I was still keen to do some short distance. My sister is living in South Africa, so it was close by, and I've lived there many years, and I was like, it's kind of a home race for me. And from that point, it started, and I never looked back. So I really enjoyed it, and I think that's the most important thing.
Yeah, and we often talk about Ironman, like if you're racing it well or within yourself to a certain extent, it does feel like a training day. At what point did it stop feeling like a training day out there? Because at some point it stops feeling like training.
Yeah, they're always like it comes in up and downs, like in waves. Like for sure, always in first part of every discipline, I feel really good. So that's
Yeah.
where I push normally. And on the bike, I open the gap and kind of enjoyed like playing a bit with Magnus and Maurten. But then on the last 40K, I started to suffer and just holding the wheel, like from Maurten that he's not slipping away. And then on the marathon, that for sure, after 10K, 15K, I started to suffer. I was like looking behind, I had like 15 minutes before in front of the fourth guy, and then I was like, okay, let's bring it home. But it's still a long way. It's still a long way.
Yeah, dude, that's always the best part at the end of an Ironman when you're like, you're racing up front, you're still, trying to hopefully, hope that Maurten or Magnus has like a chink in their armor to a certain extent. And when you realize that's not the case, and then you look back and you're like, oh, thank God I've got 15 minutes on the next guy. I could just gotta go in, right?
Yeah, that was good. But from then on, the race kind of shaped me and like so I was Nice on the map, and then I was like, which race can I do next? And I did some 70.3 races. The Ironman Pro Series came into focus. Tried or raced Frankfurt.
Yeah.
My handlebars came off, and then yeah, but I haven't planned my race season like last year, so it was coming from race to race kind of, and it worked out really well. And this year, actually, I've got my races are a bit more structured, I think.
Yeah.
Still doing a lot of races compared to other guys, I think, but um, Christian shows, I think you can do a lot of races and do well.
Yeah, no, absolutely. And does that change at all your like, the fact that you have a more focused and planned season? Does that change at all your mindset or your ease going into races? Does it give you a little bit more pressure knowing you're like, okay, I've got this race in 3 months and this race in 4 months, where last year we were just like, well, let's figure it out. What's going on?
No, I kind of enjoy it. I'm still doing new races, so coming first time to Oceanside was for me like a big thing, kind of. I like really enjoyed, gave myself the time to adjust to the time zone, to the weather. Came there like 10 days before, and just taking more time for each races. I think that's also kind of really important for the success, and just not being not stressed and not being stressed about sponsors or like having now the pressure to do well actually. If I give myself the time, I mean, I'm still calm and not really just stressed before the race. Like I haven't been in my past, and when I did the short distance, really stressed. I just went always hard as possible, and no people say his pacing is off, but normally I really do really well when I do really hard the first part and try to put the others under pressure. So this is my kind of tactics, and I think it plays a huge role in the whole dynamic of the field. They have to follow me in the transition. Like there's no time of wasting time anymore. Time to get in the first group of the pack and try to chase me down. And um, yeah, it we see gonna go in Texas with this huge field, but um, I think you never change a winning system, and that's why I'm sticking to it.
Dude, I love it. Never change a winning system. That's perfect. Yeah, I think a lot of people, would talk about, nerves when people are just kind of long course athletes and, pressure in each races. But do you think you have a big advantage considering you had so many reps of starting races, considering, as you said, you've been racing since you were like 12?
Yeah, I've seen all, been everywhere on the world basically, and also have like the mindset of racing, like from race to races. I raced up to 25, 30 races at sometimes a year. So traveled a lot and basically all the time on the road. So now with the Ironman, I've actually more time to prepare a race, and I really enjoy it. Every year you have the little small Olympics with the World Championships, which I really enjoy, and I'm living for the big races. So Nice and Marbella, they were really, really good fun, and can't wait for this year.
That's awesome. Okay, so let's you touched on it a little bit, obviously, and we can't ignore your race in Oceanside. And I mean, did Oceanside live up to the hype for you? Because for me, it was always an early race, especially in North America, but it was a thing, man. Like it's such an awesome venue. And if you haven't been there, I don't think you really realize why it's so special. And I couldn't even tell you exactly why it's so special. Obviously, it's beautiful. It's a super hard course, or it used to be hard. Looking at the times now, it doesn't seem as hard as it used to be. But yeah, tell us about your first experience in Oceanside and if it lived up to the hype.
Yeah, I heard big things about Oceanside. That's why I actually wanted to go to Oceanside, and turned out it's huge. It's so beautiful. I love it. The beach, the vibes, the people there. Um, the swim is pretty easy actually, but from the rest on, it's rough. The bike is rough. It's hard, and even the run, it's up and down, and it's like a lot of uh, good guys on the course also. So it's with the wind playing a role, and it's never easy. And uh, but I really enjoyed the show with Sam Long next to me. He
Yeah, yeah.
he gave me some company, and all the people was shouting for him, yo, 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 and I was kind of the underdog in the whole race, and but it was really good, yeah. And then Christian coming from the back, and I knew he's closing the gap, and everyone was like, he's coming, you have to pick up the pace. But it's hard in a race when you're in the moment, then you know, like I have to pick up the pace. But in all, I'm happy with the second place. I'm really happy and getting closer to Norwegian boys. They are strong. But see all the guys back now in Texas. Um, can't wait.
Well, you put a couple of the Norwegian boys in your rearview mirror, so that counts, right?
Yeah, it's but still they're like so humble, so chill. Before the race, we did some training sessions together, and then we're like in the pool chatting and running together. It's just good vibes. And
Yeah,
the whole week in Oceanside was basically just good vibes and 100% coming back next year.
awesome. Yeah, and people I think underestimate because they talk about the Norwegian method and how obviously successful all those athletes are. Can't say guys anymore because Solveig obviously is part of the Norwegian crew now, but those guys have so much fun. Like they joke around so much, and it seems like they're similar to you, and obviously very focused on results, but having fun is a priority as well.
Yeah, and they're like really happy if the one is doing well. So there's no jealousy, and they're just happy for each other, and it's good vibes to be around them. They are humble, and just enjoying the training, and they're living, I think, spending a lot of time together. And when you do that, I think it's really important that you enjoy the time together.
Totally. So, okay, back to the race a little bit. I think it's, you talk about the course being hard, and I think people they always show the pictures on that run, and it's always on like the boardwalk that's next to the beach, right? So people are like,
Mm.
"Oh yeah, the guy's Christian's running a 107 because the course is fast." But dude, those hills are so like they're not that long, but they are so hard, and I can imagine when you're like your run split was ridiculous. Running a 109 on that course. Like it used to be 110, 111 would always win you that race, right?
Mm.
And you're running a 109 trying to keep off Christian Blumenfeld and you got to go up those hills and down them is almost harder at that speed, right? It's brutal.
It's really hard on the legs. And I was running with Sam, and he was sprinting up these hills, and it was really hard to keep up. And I don't know, he was running that like so fast uphill, and I was kind of better in the smooth downhills. Kind of felt like at the
Yeah.
leg turnover better. And in the end, I waited for a bit for that, and then in the second lap, I actually opened the gap to him on the downhill. So running technique plays a big role in this race also, kind of. If you can benefit from your on the downhills and don't overdo it on on the uphills because they are steep, short but steep. Yeah.
Yeah, and it's all concrete too, so people underestimate that as well. Like it's tough on the legs run on that course. And so Sam, I love that you brought up Sam and the yo-yo-yos and all that because I feel like Sam got a bad rep, maybe like slowly bad rep early in his career because he was like a little brash, a little brazen, and seemed confident. But dude, that dude is so awesome. Like he's super kind
Mm.
guy. Like I imagine you had an awesome time running and riding
Yeah.
with him. I'm sure some good encouragement on the bike as well. Yeah.
Yeah, when he passed me after like 75K, uh, we actually opened the gap, I heard, to the other end. Because on this one lap course, you never know how big the
Yeah.
gap is. So it's no point of looking back, just going to the front. And we opened actually the gap to the Christian and the group, and then managed to get like a 2 minute gap before T2. And on the run, when he passed me again after like 7K, he gave me the fist bump and was like, "Me, you against KB." And I was like,
That's
"Yeah,
awesome.
that sounds good." He's an emotional racer. When he saw the finish line, also like Sure, he is finishing fourth was not what he aiming for, but I love that he's an emotional racer and is leaving everything out there.
Oh, totally. And on that course, especially when you're hanging out there by yourself, when you know there's that group behind you, and there is like one section early where there's an out and back, right? And you can kind of see everybody chasing you. But were you kind of stoked to have company? Like you had to be a little bit refreshed to have company out on that course.
Yeah, I actually felt in the benefit of being like behind someone, even if you're more than 20 meters behind, but you feel like you can, I think mentally it's easier to, you can ride their lanes and the line what they are taking in the corners kind of, and always like when the bump is coming, better prepared for the bump.
Right.
And that's actually mentally, it's definitely easier to stay in a pack, but it's not me. It's I like it from the front when the motorbikes or the helicopters ahead of you, or above you. Yeah, that's my racing, and I think it gives me more energy leading, kind of, and that's um, what I like when I was. It's like not holding back. That's what my racing tactics is basically.
Yeah, and you get a little bit. We used to call them helicopter watts. You always get like another 10 or 15
Yeah,
watts with the helicopter.
yeah, that's
It's a
I'm
thing.
not
It's a thing.
drafting the helicopter. Yeah.
Yeah, no, it gives you that energy. Sometimes I've seen guys blow up midway through the bike, and they were like, "Man, it was a helicopter." I got too excited. I got too excited with the helicopter. But talking about kind of the way you have been racing, and you alluded to it early in the podcast that people will criticize you for maybe going out too hard or wondering like, oh, if you went out easier, would you have a better second half of stuff? But like the reality is you're putting people out of their comfort zone and making them race your race or race their race while they have a question mark in their head the whole time. That's like, is he going to hold this thing? Right. Like is that, are you doing that on purpose for like a mental, kind of game to a certain extent or mental tactic, or truly do you like, is it 100% you race better if you open the legs up and go hard like that?
uh, I When you follow me on my short distance career, I always loved the transitions and running the first K in like 240. And I still have it in me. I think in Nice I ran the first. I was on 211 pace the first 2 or 3 K. So Alistair was like Brownie was like one saying like his pacing is off when he was commentating.
Dude, if Alistair's saying your pacing's off, that's his thing.
Yeah, yeah. Fair enough. But my pacing is it's getting better. I think my Bayer was already better. Here in Oceanside was already better. And learning, I think I'm running without a watch. I think I don't like it, like limit myself kind of. And when I'm racing, I just don't want to see the splits and just going on my feeling. Everything is on feeling. And sometimes my feeling is too good after T2 or like getting the rush. But and it's getting better and better, and hopefully soon I can give Christian a good run.
Yeah, and I mean, I think it's every athlete is different. Obviously, going out, you're not going to hold 211 marathon pace, like obviously, right? But there's a certain point where some athletes do respond a little bit more with quick leg turnover and kind of bringing that off of the bike, while some athletes, hoping for negative split is a little bit different. But the athletes that are trying to build the back half, there's not as much of a mental game. You're not putting pressure on the athletes around you, because even if the athletes are confident that you went out too hard, there's always 20% of their brain that's like, maybe this is the time he's going to hold it, right?
Yeah, and sometimes they go with me, and then they blow up the last 3K. But yeah, that's the game, kind of the tactics you have to choose. I think My tactics is normally like putting the others under pressure, and after the transition, after the swim, riding hard and open the gap. And I think the Norwegians, for example, they rather stay in the pack and go for a negative split run. So everyone has their tactics, and I think that's part of the game and makes it really interesting.
Performance runs on fuel, and carbohydrates power endurance, in training and on race day. Fueling well isn't just about racing, it's how you train harder, recover better, and build the adaptations that lead to stronger performance when it counts. Maurten's patented hydrogel technology delivers the carbohydrates you need while staying easy on the stomach, carrying fuel through the stomach to where it's absorbed, helping reduce GI issues often caused by traditional sports fuels. And it's available on course at all global Ironman and Ironman 70.3 races. Yeah, for sure. And I mean, again, with that result at Oceanside, I mean, I look at that, and again, it's hard with the times that you guys are going now because it doesn't show how hard that course is. Like, I want to say, like, you rode a 202. I think we were riding first off the bike was like 210, 211, not
Mm.
that long ago, But I feel like that course is, if there's a course that was indicative of what your Ironman distance strength was going to be, it would be a race like Oceanside, right? Like it has enough power and strength associated with it that it tends to be a pretty good determining race as to whether or not you've got that depth of strength for an Ironman race. And considering, you close with a 109, which again would have won any other day except for
Mhm.
if Christian was there. And you were only what, 20-25 seconds off or something like that. But does it have you feeling pretty good, pretty confident going into Texas?
Pretty sure, yeah.
Yeah.
I knew my shape was good. I raced early a challenge race in beginning in January, and after 3 weeks of training, basically, and then I had a good block, no niggles, and was riding a lot in Mallorca, and I knew my riding stepped up, my running stepped up, and can hold the bike position a bit better. Like, I think gonna be crucial for Texas to being comfortable in the TT position and putting actually good watts on the bike. So this it's a bit tricky coming here now in Boulder for like recovery and still managing the training. I saw what other people training now between. I was like, okay, it's me. I rather have my a bit easier on the training and go hard on the race day. And in the last year, was really good, and I think Texas should be really good as well.
Yeah, man, I think you're smart to take it
Mm,
somewhat easy in Boulder. I mean, Boulder is, the Mecca in the
mm,
US,
mm.
but it's also pretty high altitude. So trying to recover from an effort like Oceanside and build into another race, if you were doing intensity stuff, you be stressing the system maybe a little bit too much. And it's kind of hard to go hard up at that altitude, right?
Yeah, and I'm still training pretty polarized, so either really hard or easy, and um, try not to overdo it. That's the main thing, I think, in altitude. I done it in the past with too much training in altitude, and when you're just sitting on the couch and sweating, and okay, give me 1.5 day off. But this time, so far, so good. Haven't overdone it, and I think not much left. So not even a week, and then we go down to Texas for the heat and humidity. Um, yeah, it's gonna
Yeah.
be a different climate. I love it actually when it's really hot and humid. So I love the sweating.
Well, you'll get it. I lived in Texas in the woodlands in high school, and yeah, you sweat going to the grocery store over there. It's brutal.
Oh wow! So you know the area and
Oh
everything.
yeah, 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 yeah.
Ah,
Yeah. It's good, and I want to say it's tougher in some ways than it looks as well because it's rolly, but it's one of those rolly
mm,
courses that it's fast because it's rolly. But yeah, I'd say
mm,
it's a course that's gonna suit you well. But dude, I'm looking right now, and we always say like every race. every race at the beginning of the year, it's like, this is the deepest field. This is the toughest field outside of World Championships. Like every race is like that, but like I'm calling it. I think this is the deepest field outside of the World Championships that I've ever seen. And I'm going to say some of these names because I can't even say them all because there's too many. But you've got Cowan, Stratman, Phillips, Werf, Arnold, Chevalier, Canute, Hansen, Von Berg. We haven't even gotten to the like favorites yet. Vincent Louis, Jason West, Nick Thompson, Hogenhog, Long, Van Riel, Yu, Storns, Yeli Heens. Oh, I missed a world champion in there somewhere. Gustav Eden and Christian Blumenfeld. That's pretty decent field.
Yeah.
It's crazy, dude.
It's crazy. This shows, I think, the pro series it's a good thing, and all the athletes coming together. You get the big races now these days, and there are no easy races anymore. There are 6 slots, and my goal is actually to get a slot for Kona, obviously, and
Sure.
the rest we will see. But I think it's gonna be a big field, strong swimmers. With Maurten and Vince and me, and we can push Salvesberg. There are a lot of guys who can swim and try to put the runners under pressure. But you don't want to go with Patrick on the run course there, so maybe have like a little gap. Yeah.
Yeah, I forgot Patrick. I didn't see him. I didn't get to his name on there. But Lange, that guy, I was there for his first Texas, which is his first Ironman, and he's always done great on that course. And yeah, you're right. You don't want to get on the run course with him. But yeah, I think that swim, for whatever reason, it's not like that technical, but it seems like it can break up on that swim. Like there's something about the way that those buoys are set that it because there's not a lot of landmarks. It's kind of flat around there, so I think people can have challenge sighting to some extent. So do you feel like there's a decent chance for a small little breakaway from the swim with you and Vincent and Maurten?
Sure. And then we are all living in Girona, so we know each
Okay.
other. I've trained with both of them a lot. For sure, we do some kind of swim tactics. Everyone's taking a pool of 1K or something, and then it helps everyone. If we have getting a fast swim in, I think it's a non-wetsuit swim, and hopefully we open the gap to the other guys then.
Yeah, that's awesome. I want to get back to Girona here a little bit later. Love that place. Place is amazing. But when you look at a field like this, like again, I just read out 20 names, somehow missed a multi-time world champion while I was scrolling through that list. Does the 20-meter rule make you feel a lot more confident in that race? Like 2 years ago, if I would have looked at a field like that and I was racing, I'd be like, dude, I mean, if I get away on the bike, it doesn't matter. There's going to be 20 guys, 30 guys in a group together. I imagine it feels a lot different with a start list that's this deep.
I actually, when I was racing in Oceanside or the T100, it's still a benefit of the 20 meters. So,
Yeah.
Okay, 12 is ridiculous, kind of with the speed we are going, and then you feel big difference in the watts. But if you're in the fifth, sixth position, you still feel a bit the benefit in the group. And when I heard like in Oceanside, my ride I felt it was really hard actually for me, and I was putting big numbers. And then the other guy was like, "Oh, it was an easy ride." I was like, "Holy moly!" I was burning my matches way too early, yeah. But yeah, we see with in Texas is gonna be a big field, and hopefully the groups we can split it up and make it as hardest and honest as possible.
Right. And yeah, obviously there seems like, and we've had it in the years past where we have, obviously there's always been an ITU or Olympic distance transition over into Ironman racing. And we've seen those athletes do well. But it seems like, and tell me if you agree with this or not, that it's even more so now. Like I want to say that when in Nice last year, the only athlete that wasn't really coming from a full Olympic distance IT background, but did train for that, and that was his goal early, was Sam Laidlow. Like everybody else is
Hmm.
coming from that background. Do you see that more now than maybe we've seen it in the past?
Um, yeah, it's still underrated, but I think the short distance and it's brutal. It's like a good education, and everyone should start actually with a short distance. And I think the benefits you get and learn, it's amazing. It's like it's not easy. And the level is super high, and you race so much. And the swimming is already brutal. And I think everyone who's not coming from with the speed you get from the short distance, now we can translate it onto the long distance stuff. And it's not that we're not training on the short distance. I was training up to sometimes 45 hours, so even more than now. And my run mileage was higher than now. My everything was more intense. And so coming, it's more now, maybe a bit more like stacking days kind of training. But I think the short distance makes you really tough, and everything you learn so much. And I think everyone who did really well in the short distance it shows that they can translate it into the long distance game.
Yeah, and especially I think now that the dynamics I feel have changed so much, and I think that's partly because of athletes like, and I should say Sam Laidlow is kind of the one to me that showed he kind of blew it out of the water with pacing, and then it's kind of gone along that line since. Is that Ironman to an extent used to be you do the best that you can do over this distance. Where now it's tactical and you have to race fast and you have to get guys behind you, and then it can be a tactical race of speed. Where in the past, Ironman distance athletes would be like, doing more tempo, doing longer efforts where you need to have that speed. Like you saying that you used to run 240K off the bike at Olympic distance. Like if you're an Ironman guy that was just doing that as doing intervals at, 545 per mile pace or 6 minute pace, there's no way you're going to be able to stay in the same, zip code as guys like you.
Yeah, what I was thinking, if you can't run like under 30 minutes now in Oceanside, you can't run a 107. So this is now the new era kind of, where you need
Yeah.
to run at least under 30. And if you can't run under 3 minutes per K, you're gonna struggle. Yeah. So yeah, you need the speed nowadays for the short distance, and then you can do the longer stuff, even also the half marathon, marathon in marathon 2:30. I reckon you need to run in Texas. Yeah.
Yeah, dude, that's crazy. And I mean, do you like where do you see the sport going? Like, are we kind of close to the top? Like, obviously it seems like before there used to be, okay, swim specialist, Uber bikers, guys that can run fast, but now it just seems like to be elite at the top level, like they all kind of you have to be front pack, you have to be one of the stronger cyclists, and you have to be able to run under 235, which is nuts.
Mhm. Yeah, you can't have any weakness anymore. Like if you have a swims weakness, it's hard to get in the contact to the front of the race, because the guys like me who's pushing from the front, and yeah, it's hard to catch up. I mean, Sam Long proved that you can still learn to swim or like catch up, and but it's hard. It's not getting easier and faster and faster. Um, my dad was actually saying, it's not getting faster anymore. Like the swim, back in the days, 20, 30 years ago, we were swimming faster, but I doubt it. I think that everyone is it's still rise the level every year.
I love that. I love the dads doing that. My brother used to do the same thing. Oh, dude, it was we were doing the same thing back then. It was just as hard. I don't think so. I don't think so, Dad. Uh, that's awesome. And I love that you brought up Sam too, because I think that's probably, and again, he's a fighter and he's got a great attitude, but it's like, that was like the best swim of his career. Right. And he
Mm,
probably, normally in any other Oceanside year, that would have been like, he would have been cruising to a win, but because that level is so much higher, it just makes it harder for those guys. And I think, yeah, the bar's continuing to raise. So like Kona, man, like Kona's going to
mm.
be crazy. And do you think Kona suits, if you look at like Sam and his, how he got his second place kind of under the radar that first time, and what we've seen some of these other athletes do you think a Kona win suits, do you think your racing style suits a race like Kona, where it's like, man, if they let me go, it's the off the front athlete that's just like, I'm either going to blow up or I'm going to win this thing. Like, is that where
Mm.
Kona is now, or are the Norwegians, still have an eye on the prize?
100%. They still have an eye of the prize. They have the experience with the race compared to me, kind of.
Yeah,
Um, they know, especially, I think the pacing is really on, and it's hard to break them. Especially, I think when they work kind of together, it's always like you work like against like a team, because I think they're supporting each other and giving them advice, or then
sure.
it's coming when you are in the position like 1 against 3, it's always hard. Um, but it suits me. I like the heat, the hot weather. The hotter, the better. I've been racing in Tokyo Olympics, and I loved it when it's really humid and hot. And first time racing there, hopefully qualification in Texas, and then all eyes on Kona. I think my tactics is always is. I heard the swim course is super hard to break up the course, so to
Hmm.
break up the group. There only was one turn or something, and more turns the better for the faster swimmers. But still, I think if you make them swim really hard, they're gonna suffer the first hour on the bike. They're gonna go out of the water, don't know where they are, and that's my tactics actually. Try to make it as hard as possible for them when they don't expect it, or yeah.
Yeah, and I think, yeah, you're right. There's technically two turns, but they're close together at the boat, kind of at the turnaround in Kona. But if there's texture on the water, or if it's rough at all, there's something, and I can attest to this because I was not a front pack swimmer. I was always trying to stay on
Mm,
the front pack. It can be very disorienting, the like 400 to 800 meters. So for whatever reason, it's kind of hard to like sight accurately, especially when the field's that tight. So like we've seen it break up or get really close to getting broken up in that like 400 to 800 meter range. But it takes athletes like you, or Van Riel, or Louis, to like stay on that gas. And
mm,
then you can kind of spread things out. But again, as you said, everybody's getting better. So
yeah.
those groups, and even in the swim, are staying together a lot more. And I want to touch back on the Norwegians, um, only because this fact not many people are bringing up. I'm the only one that I think that's bringing up. No Norwegian has won a second Ironman World Championship,
Mm.
right? That hasn't happened yet, right? So I think your name's on the list for possibly being one of those guys that can mix it up.
Yeah. 100% is not gonna be easy, but I'm up for it. I'm keen. Um, give it a shot, a proper shot this year. My all year focuses on Kona, the big one, and I think with every Ironman I'm learning more about nutrition and pacing a bit more. And it's still my second year, but still, I'm motivated and I'm confident, with high ambitions going in there.
Awesome. Awesome. And so we're going to let you go here in a second, but I got to touch on a couple things. Do you have, there's always been this big history of, the Norwegians now, everybody's talking about the Norwegians. 6 years ago, as far as I know, there was no Norwegian that, or at least male, that had been to Ironman World Championship. So like we weren't talking about Norwegians, but it was always Australians and Germans. Sometimes Americans would get in there, but like Germany has a huge history in the
Mm,
sport in Kona and Ironman racing in general. You seem to be kind of like at the very front of this like second generation. Obviously, Patrick Lang is still there to be respected. Obviously, anybody who doesn't respect Patrick Lang is going to find themselves
mhm.
behind him at some point and disappointed in that fact. But do you have pride in that the fact that you're racing for Germany and all the history that's gone on in our sport?
Oh, 100%. When I did, I think I finished the Olympics in Paris and 2024, and then I was going and was like, had to make a decision. I wanted to race a bit middle distance, and my dad actually just did basically only is coaching me, and I asked him for advice, and he only raced 2 Ironmans, I think. And so then he has said, yeah, reach out to the big guys. And then I spoke with Lothar Leder, Thomas Henrige, Jan
Nice.
Frodeno. So they gave me all advice, and I learned I still can call them if I have like a question, and I've got their phone number, and I think this helps. You always learn if you take just a little part of the conversation. Um, and I try to learn from them, and I'm still my dad is still coaching me, and we kind of both learning the Ironman, and it's always good to have an outside perspective. And sure, the sport has changed with all the nutrition and the equipment, and but you can't neglect that what mm, Thomas Helrige, who was a strong cyclist, and he was riding and riding and riding. So I that did that in the last weeks, and makes
Yeah.
you strong. And yeah, you learn from them, and I did that. Yeah.
Yeah, man, I thought we were talking about old school Germans. You'd be bringing up, Kienle or Stadler, but you brought up Leader and Hellriegel. Those guys are old school, and those guys are awesome. I love Hellriegel. He's great. He's the best.
Yeah,
Super nice guy.
Germany big in triathlon, and every time you go there now, racing in Germany, it's huge. It's the age troopers, and triathlon is huge there.
Dude, absolutely, absolutely. Okay, we got a couple more questions here. They're going to be kind of quick fire, rapid fire. Just give me the first thing you think of. It doesn't have to be in depth. It's maybe one word, couple words, and we'll get through it. First one has to be, what hair product do you use? And you have to you've cropped yourself out. I think he's the best hair in triathlon. You're there. You go. Get a little bit lower. Look at that. Okay, what's your what what hair product do you use?
Uh, Sea salt, salt
See, see,
water,
so,
salt water.
that's awesome.
It's
With
the
a little
best
bit of
for
chlorine.
the yeah, and then just the sunshine is just perfect for to get blonde hair. Just my
Love it. Awesome. Athlete you respect most on the start line right now.
um probably the Norwegians.
Sweet. Something people get wrong about your racing style.
Mm, it's not cocky, it's confidence.
Awesome. Um, Favorite session.
Um, 20 times 1K on the run.
Yeah, that's brutal. Yeah, that's terrible. It shows you got a good pain tolerance. You like the pain. One word to describe long course racing for you so far.
It's good fun.
Awesome. Athlete you looked up to most growing up.
The brownies, yeah, for dinner.
Red. Um, Training partner that makes you laugh the most.
I train most. on my own. So, but the Maurten van Riel is always good fun around him.
That's awesome. Pre-race breakfast.
Some toast and honey and banana, but a cold meal, nothing, no rice, no gels. No, 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 not for me.
How many years till you win Kona?
How many years? Maybe 2 years.
2 years. Awesome.
Yeah.
Sweet, man. Appreciate you coming on so much, especially during that in between. Some people might think it's easy going between a 70.3 and an Ironman, but not the way you guys are racing these days. I know it's a tough time, so I appreciate you coming on and spending the time to chat with us.
No problem. Thanks for having me.
Yeah, of course, man. Great stuff from Jonas. That dude is obviously a great personality, and his racing style is mixing things up over the distance. And to let him up the road is a risk, but it's a risk he's willing to take on his own to put others on the back foot. And one of these days, it's going to pull off in one of the biggest races, and we'll see if it's in Texas here in a little bit. To stay across the latest in the Ironman and Ironman Pro Series news, follow at Ironman Try on Instagram and check out the proseries.ironman.com for standings, athlete bios, episodes of A Fighting Chance, replays of all the races, and more. And of course, I want to thank our presenting sponsor, Maurten, who's the official sports performance nutrition partner of the Ironman Global Series. Not only do they fuel Ironman athletes on course, but they also fuel us here on the Ironman Insider. And if you like this conversation, please like, share, and subscribe wherever you listen to this podcast. And if you're on the trainer, you can watch the podcast on the Ironman Triathlon YouTube channel. Thanks so much for joining us on the Ironman Insider, presented by Maurten, and be sure to keep an eye on this space for more great conversations as the season continues. I'm your host, Matt Lieto. Thanks so much for listening in.